Hello friends and fellow gamers, MKxJUMP here, and today we're checking out this week's event for Idle Heroes. We've got a brand new hero, Aylamak, who has been added to the game, a fortress hero who potentially could compete with Eloise as an early hero. That's very exciting, more on him in a bit. But before we go ahead and take a look at this event, let me tell you about Patreon. It's a way you can financially support the content I make here by backing me, and in return get yourself something such as account reviews, which we do through Discord on Tuesdays. If you're interested in learning more about that, click the link up there, but in the meantime, let me shout out our newest patrons to back us this week. Of course, we have Wayne Ung, Motty Kleiner, and Tyler Launton. So thank you so much for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. Anyway, let's go check out this week's event for Idle Heroes. We begin with what we get for logging in, which is 3 scrolls and 150 gems. A nice way of stockpiling crucial resources to help us in the future. This week's event is fairly chill when it comes to your summons, so you probably won't be using the scrolls this week, but make sure you pick them up for future events. Same goes with gems. It's good to have them in, and an extra 150 gems a day is pretty valuable. If you go and take a look at the cool events, we have a Palace of Eternity that lets you swap any of the 5 heroes you see here into an Aylamak, which is the brand new hero that's come out. Pretty interesting. As well, you probably don't want to be swapping some of these as most of them are light and dark, but Arania and Azrael could be pretty easy swaps. If you go to the Palace of Crystal, this is how you get the Eternity Crystals needed to do these swaps. It's 10 for each replace, and to get them you have to do 400 summons, and that will get you 5. You can see below 15 of them are locked, and you can unlock that by purchasing the $100 value pack right here, which gets you a Palace Key, which will unlock the lower level for that section. Of course, you have to buy these packs 5 times to unlock all 5 sections, so if that's the only reason you bought it, it can get pretty expensive, so just be mindful of that. Anyway, if you go around for the value packages, you can see they're pretty standard, just gems and heroic summon scrolls. Nothing exciting here. Probably a snooze. Not a lot of people are going to buy these. If you go to the Purple Dream package as well, this is a really weird pack. It's pretty much a glorified $100 pack. It's like, if you look, it's pretty much the same as these packs, but they've added in a Starspawn Core 6s, which you can just get from other events, so I don't really see the appeal of spending money for that. You've got an Imminent Hero Selection chest, which is okay, I suppose. Does it contain a copy of Aylamak? It doesn't, so that's a little weird. But it's there if you wanted it. And then you can get the Spring Privilege, which coincides with the Spring Summoning event, which basically rewards you for getting Aylamak copies. Each copy of Aylamak is going to get you 2 Cores of Transcendence, which really doesn't feel like much at all. But if you did go ahead and buy that package, you can go ahead and get yourself more Starspawn Cores or Master's Toolboxes. And then for this level, Starspawn Cores or Celestial Island Resources. And it pretty much pivots between those things each time. Really weird, right? You can go ahead and get a ton of Starspawn materials if you use your heroic summon scrolls this week, but why would you? There's no reason to use your scrolls. I know they're trying to, bring us in with Aylamak, but I just don't get it. It just doesn't seem like a very good idea. And the only way to get the Aylamak copies is from shard summons or heroic summons with the summon circle. So I don't even think going ahead and swapping for a copy gets you anything. I'll actually test that right now for you. So if I go ahead and take, let's say, one of my Azrael copies that are locked, so I'm just going to go and unlock that real quick. I'm going to swap one just so you can see if that's going to get me any rewards. Because if it does, that's a game changer. If it doesn't, then, well, as expected, really. So let's go put in one of these Azraels, exchange. I get myself an Aylamak, and it just adds a level 2 copy to the account. Doesn't count for the summoning at all. Yeah, so it pretty much just swapped the hero there. Didn't get it in shard form. Didn't come from the summon circle. So it doesn't count for a copy gained. That's a real shame. It would have been cool if that worked, but it doesn't. So is it worth getting this pack? Probably not. I don't think it's worth it at all. What are you going to do with all this stuff? I know it's quite nice to have these rewards and get some Celestial Island stuff and Starspawn Cores, but not for $100. And most of the other stuff here isn't appealing. There's no skin. There's no way to get artifacts. There's no way to get Sublimation Essence. It just doesn't seem like a good investment of $100, to be honest. Maybe if you were getting Sublimation, it would be more appealing, but you're not. And really, using your scrolls for some cores just seems stupid. I would rather not do that. I mean, it does stockpile pretty nicely, actually. You are getting a lot of cores, but the fact you have to use a ton of scrolls to do that and get those Aylamak copies, yeah, I'd rather not. So the summon prizes, the way this works is every time you use a scroll, you're going to get some points. And of course, that's going to get you more scrolls and more profit orbs for each level. Eventually, that's going to get you an Asmodel copy once you've done 200. It's going to get you soul symbols once you get to 300 and a Core of Transcendence. 400 gets you an Aylamak copy. And then 500 gets you Glorious Relics and more Cores of Transcendence. Again, this is, it's standard. You can go ahead and do this up to 4 times. That's 2,000 scrolls. But should you be doing this? Probably not. I think Aylamak is a hero that you don't really need to be picking up. You can get him in other ways in the future, and wasting your scrolls on this without the opportunity to get an artifact or any sublimation just seems foolish. We have a hero exchange event. This is really good. This is giving you Vulcan and Freya. Definitely worth doing. Both pretty solid awakenable heroes. Freya, really good support, especially if you can go ahead and awaken her with a decent B tier. She sells quite nicely in the auction house. And if you get a solid B or A on a Vulcan, that's really good. So they're just good copies to go ahead and awaken. So it's nice to get them on the account. And then the only other thing is the hero lottery, which is every copy of Aylamak you get, is going to get you a set of 4-star armor. And that is literally it for this week. Nothing really outstanding. DH Games trying to push this package on us. I really don't think it's going to sell very well. I don't see any reason to purchase it. Nothing good here at all. I don't want to use my scrolls. I think this event is just a hard pass for most people. Next week's event, we have Imp's Adventure. This is pretty standard. This is giving us pretty much an opportunity to just go ahead and roll dice, get some rewards. Nothing exciting there, just an extra drop carnival. Of course, that's going to give us an opportunity for an artifact and Starspawn cores. And Shelter Mission next week, pretty cool actually. We've got Seer, Azrael, and we have Vesa. And Queen, again, that's annoying. It means we're going to need more Akasha copies. Not that she was already really difficult to get. As well as that, we have Drake and Russell. Nothing too outstanding there. But that's it. That's really it for the event. Just Transcendence Heroes and then 2 solid Light and Darks. It's going to be a pretty quiet event next week. Obviously, people are going to feel a bit weird because of this, because the last 3 events we've had have pretty much given free-to-play players tons of artifacts, but I think a break is necessary. Now, some of you will be wondering, is Aylamak any good? Well, I'll be making a more in-depth video about him later on, but I think one thing that should be mentioned is he has a block skill that can stun opponents, and he has a lot of damage from bleed, and he can heal himself for every bleeding enemy on the opposing team. So, really interesting way of having self-sustain, counterattacks, and good crowd control. Really interesting abilities here as well, where he does extra damage to bleeding targets. So he could potentially rival Eloise in what he can do. Granted, his counterattack doesn't hit as many people. It only hits the one person that hits him. But the fact it can stun actually is quite exciting, because CC is something that can shut down opponents. The only issue is opponents who are CC'd do not attack back, so that's not going to trigger his counterattack. So that might be quite counter-synergistic. But then, obviously, if you look at some strategies for how I would potentially use him in the early game, you might find that he is able to replace Eloise. I will be making a video more in depth about how I would build a strategy around him and how I would approach him as an early hero if I was going to build him instead of Eloise. And I think that's really exciting. I think it's going to be something you guys should enjoy. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can absolutely catch that video. But yeah, it's just a short one from me today, guys. Literally, this event is dead as anything. Nothing to do, no new codes or anything, just a pack that's probably not worth buying, summons that probably aren't worth doing, and an event here that really isn't worth what you're getting for those Aylamak copies and scrolls used. So guys, buckle up, hard pass, don't use anything this week, and it's going to be an absolute snooze fest, and not a lot of progress to be made at all. Welcome to the first of what will be some slumpy heroic summons events, but the best thing of this event is the new hero. He seems really, really good. More on him later. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you guys will join us for some more in-depth event reviews in the future. I wasn't expecting this one to be so short, but small events, it result in small videos. See you next time, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch me next week. And of course, happy idling.